The Beit al-Futeh Mosque is at the centre of Britain's 30,000-strong Ahmadi Muslim community.
Yeah, the queues are now building up from here. You see the ladies' queues are going from here all the way up to the street now.
Over a 3-month period, this close-knit and little-known community has allowed us to witness the defining moments of Ahmadi life through their eyes. From love...
390 marriages which were registered in this office.
As they say, life without wife is meaningless.
To faith.
This is the central message of Islam, and this is what we want to portray to the world.
It's very different from Glastonbury. There's no drugs, no alcohol, no music.
Religious milestones.
I just found it challenging, but that's the whole idea at that age, to kind of push your boundaries.
And a tragedy that devastates the entire community.
It was full of smoke and fire raging towards us.
You know, when you come here and you think everything destroyed, it's just, you just want to weep.
At the end of the day, we're still Muslims, we're still a community.
Welcome to Britain's biggest mosque. It's 5 a.m. and while most people are still fast asleep, Beit al-Futeh Mosque is open for business for morning prayers. Covering a site the size of 3 football pitches, this is Britain's biggest mosque. Sandwiched between a busy dual carriageway and a train terminal in the London suburb of Morden, it's the focal point for Britain's Ahmadi Muslim community.
It is more than just a mosque, it's more than just a community centre. You know, it is the heart of the community.
The Ahmadi branch of Islam formed just over a century ago. It's one of the youngest of all Muslim communities, and the Beit al-Futeh Mosque is the faith's global headquarters.
This is a very, very important part of the worldwide community. This is the hub of all our operations.
The mosque gives a sense of belonging. It's like a second home. It's like a base for us.
Today is one of the biggest days of the year for the mosque and for all Muslims. The festival of Eid, marking the end of the month-long fast of Ramadan. And even Britain's biggest mosque is about to be pushed to its limit.
We would expect about 13,000 people today in the mosque, maybe a couple of thousand in the field. So yeah, it could go up to about 14 probably. If you can speed it up, that'd be really good, because it's going to build up onto the road, we'll have a problem. Yeah? Please. Thank you, mate. Sanico. Yeah, the queues are now building up from here. You see the ladies' queues are going from here all the way up to the street now.
As one of the mosque's national vice presidents, Mr. Khan plays a huge role in ensuring things run smoothly in and out of the mosque.
We keep the disturbance to a minimum. We make sure that our boys are around the streets to make sure nobody's parking illegally. We've distributed maybe 6,000 or 7,000 chocolate boxes around the area. You know, we go out of our way to make sure that people are happy.
But by 9 in the morning, the problem is less about disruption in the surrounding area. It's more about getting 14,000 people inside the mosque in just an hour and a half.
Every person gets scanned, the photograph comes up on the scanner, and so they know exactly who it is. If the face matches up, they can come in. We don't take security lightly. Even with all other religious communities, there's always some nutcase somewhere or other that's willing to go, you know, to extreme lengths to make his point. So we are very conscious of security. Yeah, shoes is a big problem, as you can see. We've got 12,000 pairs in here. This is very important, because we don't want it going wrong inside the mosque. You know, 6,000 phones going off. Sounding cool?
The choice of Mission Impossible as a ringtone for one of the mosque's busiest men is no accident.
It's my grandson. He loves this tone, and he says, Nana, whenever you're working in the mosque, it seems like it's always one thing after another. So he thinks it's appropriate. So, and everybody else does now. They know it's my ringtone. So.
Thankfully, today hasn't been such an impossible mission. Right on schedule, 14,000 people have managed to store their shoes and find a place to pray. Just in time for the arrival of the religious leader of the Ahmadi Muslim faith, known as the Khalifa or Hazur. More senior than an imam, the Khalifa is the fifth leader to take over the role since the Ahmadi faith began in 1889. To ensure his message reaches across the globe, the mosque has its own TV station, Muslim Television Ahmadiyya or MTA.
Our own television crew does all the recording here. It's live, obviously. The whole program is live from here, relayed across the world, and in 8 different languages, so there's simultaneously translation going on here.
A big fan of accessing the religious leaders' prayers via MTA is 6-year-old Isa Ahmad. Diagnosed as autistic 2 years ago, Isa is about to face the biggest challenge of his young life, his Ameen.
I've touched us all again.
A rite of passage for all Muslim children, Isa must read and recite more than 6,000 verses of the Islamic holy book, the Quran.
He's found it challenging, but that's the whole idea at that age, to kind of push your boundaries.
I need to get that big boy, but I couldn't get it. It's running away from me, and I need to pick up that big boy.
Isa is such a unique boy. He has innocence in him. He has a very pure heart.
I can't go. Oh, I couldn't get that big boy.
Yeah, you can't help but love Isa.
The final hurdle in the Ameen is reciting part of the Quran in front of an audience of family and friends from the mosque. It's a daunting prospect for most 6-year-olds.
Do you want to stroke him?
But Isa's autism means he finds large groups of people frightening.
When I feel sad or upset, I need to tell my adults how I feel. Yeah, feeling level 1. Happy. And level 2 means okay. Level 3 doesn't mean okay. Level 4 doesn't mean okay. Level 5 doesn't mean okay either. I need to say, you need to please help me calm down. I don't understand.
Come on, Isa. More chairs, Isa. Yes, grab this chair as well. Put it out.
Isa has already had 2 attempts at the final stage of the Ameen, but each time anxiety got the better of him.
He began reciting okay, but then he kind of went into a kind of whisper. And I guess partly our fault, we didn't really kind of prep him enough. We did tell him that he's going to recite in front of a large audience.
No, let's do it from the beginning. The beginning is nice.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Seeing Isa complete this rite of passage is so important to his family. They've organised a final reading in a few weeks' time. If Isa is to pass this major Islamic milestone, he'll need to conquer his fear of facing an audience.
With a loud voice?
Yeah.
And Isa, look at me. Good tune, okay?
Back in Morden, 2 hours after 14,000 Ahmadi Muslims packed into Britain's biggest mosque to celebrate Eid, they're now heading home. For other mosques, this is the biggest event of the year. But for the Ahmadi community and super organiser Mr. Khan, Eid is just the warm-up. The main annual event for this little-known branch of Islam is an enormous religious gathering, rivaling some of the UK's biggest festivals. And it's happening in less than a month.
40,000 people coming on the site, 3 meals a day. We have to put all our efforts, and you can see this is why you've got 5,000 volunteers putting their every effort into making this a success.
The Beit al-Futi Mosque in South London started life as a derelict milk bottling plant. Opened in 2003, the local Ahmadi Muslim community donated almost £15 million to transform it into Britain's biggest mosque. Today, the 5-acre site provides everything the busy community needs, from the main prayer halls to 2 large spaces set aside for major events, from religious festivals to weddings.
Good marriage, this is the once in a lifetime.
The mosque also has its own library, a bookshop, and 2 massive kitchens regularly feeding hundreds in a single sitting. All of these facilities are run for the community, by the community.
And all volunteers, there's a single employee here. I'm a complete volunteer myself as well, and because if you don't lead from the front, every one of us, whether you look at a young lad or the senior people, they all are volunteers, every one of them.
Property surveyor Mr. Khan was instrumental in getting the mosque built. These days, as one of the national vice presidents, he deals with everything, from planning major events to ensuring the site runs smoothly.
We've got the ladies going into their entrance and the men going on into theirs, and this is the way Islam expects people to get together, especially obviously in a mosque. This mosque caters for the ladies in a superb way because it gives exactly the same amount of floor space for the ladies, so they have no lesser facility than the men.
But while most of the mosque is strictly segregated in line with Islamic law, one department is devoted solely to bringing men and women together.
As they say, life without wife is meaningless. Good to have a partnership.
This is the mosque's in-house marriage bureau.
I'm here to register for.
Its sole aim is finding suitable love matches within the global Ahmadi community.
God created attraction between the 2 bodies, male and female.
Our job is to find the right boy and the right girl, help them, and then let them make their decision.
Registration form, it has 2 pages. This form...
For the last 10 years, the whole operation has been in the capable hands of 3 retired professors of science who volunteer 5 days a week, all in the name of love.
On the second part, your own choice, what sort of girl and height and age you were like. We will register in our system and go to the website and search for your own match.
All right.
Okay?
We look at them in the birds, with animals, even plants, they're all in pairs. So why human beings should not be in pairs?
Virtually every night there is a wedding going on here.
It's the ultimate fruit of all your efforts.
And I'm from New Jersey, and it's my niece.
Having made over 2,000 successful matches since they took over the Marriage Bureau, the 3 professors believe the key to their success is academic rigour.
Coming with a scientific background, we are very structured, we plan things, we are very organized, and this is important for this type of job.
The pink folders are for girls, and then girls from USA or Canada, and the girls from Africa, Indonesia, Japan, Mauritius, and Middle East, and the girls from all European girls are here. And the blue folders are for the boys.
Well, put it this way, love is part of life. No life without love. So love is everything. This universe is based on love.
Love is so important to Ahmadis. It's key to their very way of life.
This is the central message of Islam, and this is what we want to portray to the world. The very essence of Islam, the very meaning of the word Islam is peace. There's times when you have to promote something more, and we felt that in this age in particular, there was need to present this message of Islam very, very strongly, and that is why you can see it right on the top of our building. Love for all, hatred for none.
But this close-knit community isn't only inward-looking. The Ahmadi message of love for all and hatred for none also benefits the wider community. Every year, Ahmadis raise hundreds of thousands of pounds for non-Muslim charities, including the British Heart Foundation and Great Ormond Street Hospital. One of this year's many fundraising events is a sponsored cycle ride from Paris to London in aid of the British Red Cross.
This was our Ride for Peace challenge. And part of the reason for doing the rides also is to try and dispel some of the myths that people have about Muslims and what they stand for. And obviously what we stand for is very much service for humanity and helping one's fellow man. And if we can work to counter some of that bad image of Muslims, then you know, that's a good thing in our eyes as well.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
And to go out among people and cycle from one place to another with that message, love for all, hatred for none, I think that's a pleasure to be part of.
Today's event is just one of nearly 20 fundraisers, weddings and community activities that happen at the mosque every single week, bringing in more than 40,000 people every month.
The sisters from Africa. It is more than just a mosque. It is our community centre. It is where people get married. It is where people have our means for their finishing of their Quran. And for the wider community, it's become a place where they can hold their school junior citizens events. The police holds their regional events, and local events, and even some national events are held here. I mean, I could go on. The list is endless.
This way, please.
But once a year in August, it's all change at the mosque. The entire Ahmadi community leaves Morden and heads for a field in Hampshire for the annual 3-day celebration of their faith, the Jalsa.
On the 4th of August, there was absolutely nothing on this site. It was barren. It was just field, and as I said, not even a cone, not even a flag, nothing. So we've gone from that to what you see now.
This tradition is unique to the Ahmadis, and this year will be the biggest Jalsa yet, with more than 40,000 visitors expected, making it the largest gathering of Muslims in the country. But with less than a week to go, National Vice President Mr. Khan has once again got his work cut out.
All this will be cleared by Saturday for the coaches. So everything has to go, the flooring will go in, all the rubbish will be cleared from here, the skips will go, and all the coaches, coach park will be parked here, no? So it doesn't take long, so Mr. John. Signing this up?
Mr. Khan must ensure everything the mosque offers in Morden is replicated at the festival.
Everything comes here. We've got 3 television stations, MTA 1, 2, 3. 1 is European, 2 is Asian, and 3 is Arab. We've got 400 toilets, we've got 150 showers.
The Jalsa is an opportunity for Ahmadis to celebrate their religion and community. Like all festivals, an important part of the weekend is the sharing of food, all provided free of charge and cooked on site.
What do you think? 140 burners? This is our bakery, or we call the roti plant. These guys are the engineers who set the thing up.
Isn't that the man?
No, this is 2012.
Back in Morden, the man responsible for delivering almost 200,000 meals over the course of the 3-day event is volunteer head chef Rafi Shah.
Residential areas for men and for ladies, and this is residential area for ladies. And our kitchen is more or less here.
Catering for the 3-day event requires extensive planning and help from Rafi's nearest and dearest, wife Nabila, and his 19-year-old daughter Rahila.
So the food goes from there to do you know where the corner is? Back there?
Oh, there you go, ladies dining.
I see.
Is it still same?
No.
For the past 30 years, Rafi has volunteered in the mosque's kitchens, regularly cooking for hundreds of worshippers at any one time. His day job at Network Rail is extremely stressful, and mass catering is Rafi's very unique way of relaxing.
My title is Mobile Operations Manager, but basically it's response to any incident on the railway, from a small incident to like fatalities, accidents, or no matter what. But I just do this whenever I've got time. That's why, mostly at weekends. When I come here, I just totally forget about my work, really.
Rafi may have been cooking on this scale for 3 decades.
I mean, if you can't stand the heat, you're in the wrong place.
But the Jalsa is a whole new ball game.
It is the biggest Indian curry house in Europe. Talking about 28,000 meals in the afternoon and around 60,000 meals a day.
He'll be joined in his 3-day catering marathon by a team of 100 volunteers. But they'll all be men, as in accordance with Islamic law, the whole Jalsa site, just like the mosque, is split down the middle. For Rafi's wife and daughter, catching up with female friends and family is the highlight of the festival.
You wouldn't be able to have the same Jalsa experience as you have when it's separate. I think that's part of the fun as well. Like, you're with your sisters. There's nothing interesting on the other side, really.
Yeah, men's section is boring.
Just men.
Yes. There is not a chink that you can see out of it.
Well, I think you can see people's feet.
You can see people's feet, yes. And if there is a man coming, there is an announcement. Please put your head coverings on, do your parda. There's a man coming.
A man?
Man? Oh my God.
What is that?
The only good thing about the men's section, well, there's two good things about the men's section. One is they've got huzur, and the other thing is they've got a better bazaar.
Yeah, they've got a better bazaar.
They've got a better place to
really
shop.
Need to up their game.
Why they've got a better place to shop?
I don't understand.
Than the women's bazaar. I don't know.
Despite the lack of shopping opportunities, the Shah family, like every man, woman and child in the community, will be heading to the Jalsa in just 6 days' time. And back on site, the clock is ticking.
So much importance for us that we have to put all our efforts, and you can see this is why you've got 5,000 volunteers putting their every effort into making this a success.
Mr. Khan has so far managed to keep everything on schedule, but one thing he can't control is the weather.
If you come here tomorrow, you'll need wellies. The mud's here now, so the Wellington boots we've had here, so it looked like Glastonbury. Normally last 3-4 years we've had it really muddy, but it is very different to Glastonbury. I mean, it's far more civilized, I think. There's no drugs, no alcohol, no fighting, no music. And so, yeah, it's very different from Glastonbury, I think.
In modern South London, Britain's biggest mosque, normally the bustling hub of the 30,000-strong British Ahmadi Muslim community, is eerily quiet. "50 miles away in Hampshire, it couldn't be more different. A 210-acre site that was swimming in mud just 3 days ago has been transformed. A giant tented version of the mosque has been constructed, complete with prayer halls, kitchens and a marriage bureau for the mosque's annual Jalsa festival. Among the tens of thousands of Muslims on their way to the Jalsa is 6-year-old Isa and his family.
Look where we're going.
Jalsa?
We're going to Jalsa.
This is a big challenge for Isa, as large crowds are a frightening prospect.
I'm going to see Huzur from far away.
But his dad is hoping the chance to see the Ahmadi religious leader, the Khalifa or Huzur in the flesh, will help him overcome his fear.
Yeah, I think this is where we split.
Just like the mosque, the Jalsa site observes Islamic law and separates the adults into male and female sections. So if Isa wants to catch sight of the Khalifa, he has to brave the crowds with just his dad and his little sister by his side.
We're going into the main marquee now to say namaz, okay?
Over the next 3 days, Isa and his family will be joined on site by the entire British Ahmadi community, plus another 10,000 international visitors. The festival starts in the same way every year, with the Khalifa raising the Union Jack alongside the Ahmadi flag as a public symbol of loyalty to the UK.
I think anybody who lives in a country long enough should be used to their cultures and start adapting them to their way of life without compromising on their religious requirements. It's our nation, it's where we live, and loyalty is very much part of the Islamic faith. I'd say there's more Islam in Britain as a country than in most Muslim countries around the world. Helping the aged, pensions, a welfare state, free NHS. These are Islamic principles. We have absolutely no problem in being British and feeling very British and being Muslim.
Attending the Jalsa may be food for the soul, but the thousands of delegates also need to eat. The man responsible for catering for all of the visitors over the 3-day event and heading up a team of over 100 volunteer cooks is head chef Rafi Shah.
So it's working fine now, yeah? Okay, that's good.
This year's gathering is the biggest ever.
Today we are cooking 110 pots. This would sort of feed about 25 to 27,000 people. Hopefully.
And even normally calm Rafi, an old hand at mass catering for the mosque, is struggling with the vast amounts of food that needs to be prepared in one go.
Did you count how many delegates we got? Huh? How many? Sakib is also my assistant. He's been with me for over 30 years. Why are you guys sitting? For 3 hours. 3 hours sleep. Hopefully I'll catch that up, catch up that later on this week sometime. Haven't you got anything else to do? When you've got the responsibility, you know that you've got to do things, then you forget about, the lack of sleep and all that. Ahmed, why are you looking worried?
Rafi and his team are seriously behind. To meet their lunchtime deadline in just 3 hours' time, 20 tons of onions must be sliced and 30 tons of potatoes chopped. And now, a crucial ingredient has added to the delay.
We had the butchers working all night to get some more meat, which just arrived this morning. Is that 75 left, including these?
No, it's 75 plus minus 5.
And we've got to give you food at 1 o'clock for 30,000. So that's why the pressure is on a little bit. Cook them at full power now. We haven't got time, so we've got to hurry up.
But away from the frantic kitchens, some areas of the Jalsa are very quiet, perhaps too quiet, for the love professors of the Marriage Bureau.
I don't think we had many, maybe around 10, but all of activity happens that end. Very quiet here, so obviously they're enjoying it.
This is the only tent at the Jalsa to deal with both men and women. But just like the rest of the festival, the genders are still separated.
There is a curtain which runs between the men's side and the women's side. So this curtain is all the way along. And this is our Ahmadiyya tradition. Men and women don't mix. They are there and we are here.
The 3 love professors were hoping this year's biggest ever Jalsa would be a bumper one for marriage matches.
Well, they're all interested there. We are men's side, obviously it's quiet. Yes.
In our culture, it's mostly ladies who organize these kind of things. Okay.
But all is not lost on the love front. The men might be more reticent, but the women's side is buzzing.
You can see there's a lot of noise. What's going on? There are nearly 150 mothers and perhaps their daughters with them, and we have got all the lists with us of the boys, and they are going through that, having a discussion and that sort of thing. So they are trying to find out the best match for themselves.
नहीं वो ठीक है बुजान is fine now.
Okay. अभी वो कुछ रिकॉर्ड करना चाह रहे थे. She says it's fine. She said whatever she needed is fine now.
Men normally get involved in the final thing. Okay, here's the paperwork, we need to get signature. So that's how work is divided. They do upfront work, we are like the back boys.
After 3 days of praying, eating, matchmaking and catching up with friends and family from across the globe, everyone comes together for the final and most important ceremony of the Jalsa, the International Bed. a pledge of allegiance to faith and country, led by the Khalifa. The chance of finally getting close to the Khalifa is the incentive 6-year-old Isa needs to brave the crowds and join in.
He's prone to sound a lot. He doesn't like loud noises too much. So he's getting better.
The Khalifa sits at the front of the crowd, surrounded by the most senior people. From here, all 40,000 Ahmadis present are connected hand to shoulder, all the way to the back of the tent and even out into the field outside.
As you saw, the Ba'ath just happened, the international pledge, where all the Ahmadis around the world can renew their faith and renew their pledge to the Hazur. It was brilliant. I mean, we were there. Obviously, we were pushed towards the back area.
But not everyone was entirely happy with the final ceremony.
Really scared.
You were scared?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people there, weren't there?
Yeah.
And it's really loud.
Yeah.
But you get used to it. We'll do it again next year, okay? We'll do more practice for next year. I think this is the first international Ba'ath that ESA has actually partaken in properly. And I'm hoping he'll remember it.
The Pledge of Allegiance is hungry work. As around 40,000 Ahmadis head for their final meal of the Jalsa, behind the scenes in the kitchen, Rafi and his team of volunteers have made their deadline by the skin of their teeth.
I've done this job for about 15 years. Every year I come here, I tell my people at my work about this job, and they say, really, you do it voluntarily? It's not like work. It's a totally different feeling. You can't explain it. You have to live it.
I would say nearly 200,000 meals. This is a record, but every year, it just keeps increasing.
This one feels really yummy.
And the figures keep going up.
After 72 hours of almost non-stop cooking, Rafi can finally catch up on lost sleep. But there's no time to relax for the man behind the whole event.
You won't know whether it's a complete success until everybody's gone home.
It is an absolutely fantastic
I hope you enjoy your day.
And such joy on people's faces.
By the time you wound this Jalsa out properly, we got all the bills and paid all the checks, you're probably ready to start organising the next one, aren't we?
Jalsa may be over for another year, but back at Britain's biggest mosque, it's business as usual. In the halls, one of the Marriage Bureau's many successful matches is helping the 3 love professors get over their unfortunate dry patch at the festival.
And this is the end result of that. They do get married. And this is the biggest event of a Muslim person's life. Biggest event.
We are here to bring pleasure. That's the key thing. Nothing makes me more happy when I've seen, people getting married, and we have done a little bit of our part in it.
Today's union brings this year's total up to a record number of marriages.
There were 390 marriages which were registered in this office. And it is a huge, story of success. It's not a small achievement you can't find out in other places. So it means something we are doing right.
Life at the mosque settles back into a busy rhythm. But then, just after morning prayers on a seemingly normal Saturday in September, disaster strikes.
It's just like my house caught fire. Around 12, that one of our volunteers rushed to me and said, there is a fire. The minute we entered into that area, it was full of smoke and fire raging towards us. Very soon we realized that this fire is out of control. This fire is too big.
Britain's biggest mosque has been devastated by a massive fire, and Morden's Ahmadi Muslim community is in shock.
Someone shouted, "Oh, there's a fire," and we've got to get out. We actually saw it getting bigger and bigger.
One of our volunteers, he just fell on the ground, and I was scared that if we can't pick it up, we won't be able to survive. So we just dragged him out.
70 firefighters from all over London are tackling the blaze.
All fire brigades arrived very quickly and they're doing excellent work in containing the fire. We don't know the cause of the fire at this stage. At the moment, the priority is the safety of the site.
The fire burned for much of the day, destroying half the ground floor and all of the offices above. Incredibly, the only structures left undamaged are the building's 2 enormous prayer halls. But the damaged hallways make it impossible to access them safely. Morden's entire community, Muslim and non-Muslim, is devastated.
I'm here every other month for something or other. I've known them for 25 years, they're friends. I feel personally sad because I watched it being built.
There are very good people around us. The kids from one charity, they turned up with beautiful 2 carts. It is such a lovely thing.
Thank you very much. Bahut shukriya.
It moved me. I can't explain. I have no words to explain.
We hope everything's okay.
If you talk to people in Morden and say, "Have you ever been to a mosque?" you'll get far more replies of yes than in other parts of the borough. And what they mean is they've been to Baitul Futur. This is where they've been.
One of the mosque's national vice presidents, Akram Ahmadi, also an engineer, is the first to see the devastating scale of the damage.
When you come here and you think everything destroyed, it's just, you just want to weep. You can see the roof has gone. The fire was everywhere. You can see it's burned everything.
The fire swept through virtually the entire ground floor of the mosque, with temperatures reaching in excess of 1,000 degrees Celsius.
Here you can see the effect of this, how hot this fire must have been, because these are I-beams,
For the volunteers who dedicated their lives to both the building and running of the mosque,
Yeah, from here, I suppose you can just about see my office, look.
the damage is heartbreaking.
See where the filing cabinets have fallen? That's our office. Just a pile of metal and burnt charcoal, I suppose, that's it. 21 years ago, I first found this site and identified it and brought it into the community to consider as our headquarters. And so I'm very, very close to it. Every square inch of this place, I can tell you a story about every tile, every door frame, every architrave, every suspended ceiling, every light switch. I know even the colours on the paint on the wall, on the skirtings, how it was, each place was made. I can probably tell you a story about each square inch of this place. But it's life. Just got to get on with it.
With Friday prayers, the busiest day of the week, just 6 days away, it seems impossible the mosque will be reopened in time. But even with the hub of the Ahmadi community shut down and its future uncertain, life goes on. Just down the road in Sutton, 6-year-old Isa's big day has finally arrived.
My Amin party, all of them came.
Today is his third attempt at completing his Amin, a public reading of the Islamic holy book in front of friends and family.
We'll see. We'll just wait and see, I guess, when that happens. Hopefully it will be quite good.
Well, he's quite nervous, and we've been telling him throughout the day, what's going to happen and who's going to come.
After weeks of practice and exposure to the crowds at the Jalsa, Isa's parents are hoping they've done enough to help him overcome his fear of facing a large gathering.
We're going to do the Quran now. Remember I told you everybody's going to be watching you. We're going to be practicing, and Nana's going to be on your right, Ammi's going to be with you, and I'm going to be behind you. And what happens when I tap you? What does that mean?
Louder!
That's right. Are you ready? Okay.
Ready, sir?
Okay.
This is Isa's big moment, his third and final attempt to pass this important Islamic milestone.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Isa's extensive preparation seems to be paying off.
إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم.
Good boy. Well done, that's it. Finished. This is an achievement. We celebrate achievements. So we happen that in our family, if somebody gets a new job or graduates from university, and this is Isa's first achievement, and now this is his party's, this is a celebration.
Finishing his Amin is Isa's first step in understanding the Quran, but it may also be his first step in overcoming his fear of crowds.
Level 1.
Back in Morden, there's more cause for celebration. Incredibly, just 6 days after the fire that devastated a third of Britain's biggest mosque, the building is preparing to reopen, just in time for Friday prayers.
People have worked around the clock almost. The Ahmadi community is very, very active, and when it faces challenges, it takes them on head on and deals with it.
With over 6,000 Ahmadis expected to turn up to hear the Khalifa's Friday sermon, many members of the wider community have also turned out to give their support.
Here in solidarity for you.
MPs, councillors, local residents, church leaders, they've come and shown that they're part of us and we're part of them.
One of the great things about this community, they built this themselves. I mean, they paid for it, every brick. They don't get government grants because they don't apply for them. They believe it's their mosque. They use their money. It's an incredibly self-reliant community.
We have very good friends all over the world, but particularly in the UK and particularly in Morden and Merton.
Even faced with disaster on such a massive scale, the community surrounding Britain's biggest mosque refuses to be beaten.
We're a very active, living, thriving community. But even when there's adversity, we're still here working as hard as possible.
Irrespective of what happens to the mosque itself, at the end of the day, we're still Muslims, we're still a community, and we will make every endeavour to stay that way.
When I was watching the fire, I was already thinking, I think we're going to take this opportunity to make this into even better place. And that's what we intend to do, make it really more beautiful. I'd like you to come here after about a year or so when we finish this, and then you'll see that my words were prophetic from this point of view anyway.